Okay, good morning, everyone. Please put your camera on for those who don't have it. And do you have any questions from the homework? Put them on chat. I give you a few seconds to put them on chat before I start. Okay, 29. Okay, number 2 and 29. All right, I'll write those down. Very good. Okay, so as the rest of you try to put their questions on chat, I would like to talk a little bit about the quiz, and then we proceed to your question and finalize the section. All right, so just to let you know what I'm expecting from your answer in this quiz. So the first question was, explain in words what does sine inverse of 0.3 means. Okay, so I'm going over the quiz before I take up your question. Now, a lot of you said the sine inverse of 0.3 means the inverse sine of 0.3. I mean, the question, the answer is not clear. It's not clear to you, and I know it's not clear. It's not clear to me, but definitely not clear to you. The reason I asked this question because I want you to fully understand when you see this, because you will see it. If you guys want to go into engineering or any science class, you will have to see the symbolism. What I want you to understand is that that's the angle. So I want you, when you see this, you say, you know, that's an angle. That's the angle between -9, minus pi over 2 and pi over 2, whose sine is 0.3. So I want you to see that you're talking about an angle whose sine is 0.3. So in a more precise way, sine 0.3 is the angle theta, such that the sine of theta is 0.3. Okay, that was, I was hoping from the first answer. Some did, but a lot didn't. So sine inverse, I want you to see this. When you see that, I want you to see that's an angle whose sine is 0.3. Okay, B, I had correct answers, but let me just say it in word. Why sine inverse is not defined? So that's what the definition is. Sine inverse of θ by definition is the angle theta such that the sine of theta is equal to 3. But that's really where the problem came. And the question is, but the largest value of the sine, the largest value of sine is actually 1, because due to the definition of the sine on the unit circle, that's a unit circle, the sine is the y coordinate. So the maximum value is 1, the minimum value is -1 to 1. Even when we graphed the sine, if you guys remember, that's how the graph looked like. It max at 1, mean at -1. So there is no angle. That's why it's not defined, whose sine is equal to 3, because 3 is bigger than 1. Okay, because this is bigger than, all right? Now for 2, give 4 values of theta where the tangent is not defined. A lot of you gave me values which are not correct. Okay, so here let us again remember, the tangent is the sine over the cosine. Okay? So tangent is not defined for every value of theta that makes cosine theta equal to 0. So not defined when for every theta that makes the denominator 0. So if I plug in a theta that makes the denominator 0, this is the value that gives me a problem. So now the question is, which theta makes the denominator 0? Which theta makes the cosine equal to 0? So if I go back to definition of cosine, okay, cosine is the x-coordinate. So the cosine is 0 at pi over 2, or 90 degrees. I accepted either answer. Right here, if theta is pi over 2, the cosine is 0. It's either 0 here because the x-coordinate is 0. It's if take pi over 2 and I go around, wrap around one more, it means I take pi over 2 and I add it to pi. which give me 5 pi over 2, and I added 4 of them, also the cosine is 0. If I take minus pi over 2, the cosine is 0. And I can add the plus or minus. So let me repeat why the tangent is not defined. Because if I take pi over 2, so tangent pi over 2 would be the sine of pi over 2 divided by the cosine, which is going to give me 1 over 0, which is not defined. Okay. Now let me ask you a question. Some student put theta equal 180. Is this correct? For the student who put 180, is this correct? Does the tangent not defined at 180? So when you put an answer, you should try to make sense for yourself. Is this answer true or false? Theta is not defined when theta is 180. True or false? It doesn't work. False. So Rebecca, is theta equal 180? Is the tangent defined or not defined? Can you talk? Rebecca, can you talk? It's defined, yes, because if we plug in the tangent, so some of you just wrote numbers without trying to think about it. If I plug in 180, what will I get? I get the sine of 180 over the cosine of 180. But does this make sense? Yeah, it is 0 because the sine of 180, that's 180, is pi. The sine is 0. The cosine is -1. That's 0. There is no problem with that. Okay, so there is no issue with that. So we don't just plug in any values. We just zoom in on all those that make cosine 0, because this will give me something over 0, which is not defined. Okay, so please be careful with that. Now, problem number 3. Again, regardless how many times I drew the unit circle to solve those problems, somehow you guys decided you're not going to do the unit circle, and it was not correct. So solve each of the equations below. So I'm going to go over them clearly in the given interval. So all of you gave me one correct value, and then you did not draw the unit circle, so you gave me a bunch of wrong values. So first, let us a little bit think about it. I want the cosine to be -0.3. That's -0.3 right here. Remember, the cosine is the x-coordinate. It means graphically, I want this angle, because if I take this angle from here to here, remember the cosine is the x-coordinate, the cosine of that angle is -0.3. Now, before we start finding the angle, ask yourself, at least here, theta is in which quadrant? If cosine theta is -0.3, which quadrant is theta is? Now I'm going to start picking student, and I want answer. Asia. Which quadrant? Asia, are you with me? Asia. Yes, okay. In which quadrant is theta? Question number 1. Before we even find it. If the cosine is negative, quadrant 2, is there another quadrant where theta could be? If the cosine is negative, where else could it be? Quadrant 2, where else? No. Could it be in quadrant 4? It can't be in quadrant 4 because in quadrant 4, the cosine is positive. So it cannot be in quadrant 4. It has to be in quadrant 2, quadrant 3. Okay, just as a guideline. So if you get an answer in quadrant 4, you're doing something wrong, because right here, the cosine is positive. So this has to go. So first concentrate on, okay, where is my theta at least? Step number 2, you're gonna find your theta. All right, and that's really where the cosine inverse came into the picture. So theta is the cosine inverse of 0.3. Of -0.3. Now, because I've asked you between 0 and 360, I I wanted the angle to be in degrees because I wanted to be something that you can understand quickly. So now this is where the calculator comes into the question. And the calculator gave us 107.45. Okay, that's the answer that all of you gave. Now, I usually ask for all the angle. I want all of them between 0 and 360. What should be the second one? That's where your unit circle is going to help you. So I got the first. That's the calculator. The calculator gives me one of them, the one between 0 and pi for the cosine. The question is, how can I find the other one? So I go to my unit circle. I don't memorize. You guys tried to memorize. I don't know what you did. Add pi, subtract pi. We don't memorize. We look at the picture. The other angle I want is this one. That's the other angle I want. Okay, now what's this angle? Just look at the picture. Do not memorize anything. What's this angle here? Just look at the picture. This is 177. The blue one is what? Well, I look for my red pen that I lost. Quickly, I want quick answer on bright space before I start zooming in on specific student. Okay. All right, I'm gonna pick one student and use the picture. Giselle, are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, can you give me this angle here? Just look at the picture. I don't want no memory. Look at the picture. If you know this is 1,7, use the symmetry. How much is this one from here all the way to here?
Going to 360.
What?
Going to 360.
350?
Yeah, minus 107.45.
Yeah. Is it hard? That's it. That's the other angle. You don't memorize. A lot of you added 180, subtracted 180. Just look at your picture. It's the 360 minus 107. And that's the end of it. And you get the 252.55. Okay. So that's how I want you to do those problems. Your calculator will give you one. You draw your unit circle. You picture the other one. Okay. So let's finish this, and then we go back to law of sine and cosine. All right, so sine theta equal minus a third. Again, question number 1. Theta is in which quadrant? The sign is negative. Quadrant 1. Are you sure? Where is the sign? Okay, so that's the sign. Minus a third. This is a minus a half, minus a third is right there. Okay, so where is the angle? If this is the sine, it's negative, so the angle is quadrant 1 correct? Oh, that's fine. So tell me the answer. Which quadrant is theta? Quadrant 4? Is there another quadrant where theta could be if the sign is negative? Look at your picture. The sign is negative. One answer is quadrant 4. Is there another angle? Is there another quadrant where theta could have a negative sign? Okay, I'll pick another student, see what they got to say. Jaden, are you with me? Jaden.
Quadrant 3, Professor.
Nice, quadrant 3 also. You are also in quadrant 3. So there are 2 quadrants where the sign is negative. Quadrant 4, this angle, and quadrant 3. Both of them. I have the signs there. So first focus, where is the sign? So the sign is negative, quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. So that will help you out. Now let us find them. So if I know the sign, I know the angle, I go after my calculator. So the calculator. And I find the sine inverse of that. And the calculator is giving me the one in the 4th quadrant. because it will give me minus 19.47. Because it will give me the one between minus 90 and 90. So that's the one my calculator gave me. This is the one from the calculator, this one here, minus 19.47. Okay, as I said, please draw picture. Please draw picture. There is no way you can do those without the unit circle, because I don't memorize any of this stuff. I never did. I just draw my circle and proceed from there. So now question number 2. I want them to be, sorry, that's what 360. I want them to be between 0 and 360. That means I want the angle to be positive. So now I want you to give me 2 positive angles between 0 and 360, whose sine is minus a third. So the calculator gave me from here to here minus 19. I want the one which are positive. So this is minus 19. So the one I want is this one and that one. Okay, so I want the blue and I want the red. Who is ready to give me the blue before I pick? Who's ready to give me the blue? Okay, I think I have to pick. You guys giving me no choices. Maddie, are you ready? Maddie, are you with me? I guess not. Okay, Clarissa is giving me 199. Clarissa, how did you get 199?
I did 180 plus 19.47.
Exactly. Did you use the picture?
Yes.
Nothing else. That's, if this is 19, symmetry tells me this is 19. I am done and I get the 199.47. What about the other one, Clarissa?
I did 360 minus 19.47 and got 340.53.
Okay. Again, did you use the picture? It's the 360, you take away the 19. So that's, once you draw the picture, we should not have issues. Say, what is your angle, quadrant 4 and quadrant 3, and now, okay, does this satisfy, is this in the right quadrant? Yeah, 199.47, we are in the third quadrant, and this will pick up the fourth quadrant. All right? So let's look at the last one, and then we move on, because those problems are important. So again, that's what 360. And find theta. So all of you basically isolated the sine. So at this stage, none of you had any issues. So they isolated the sine. It means they said 5 sine theta is equal to 2. They took away 1. And then they said sine theta equal to 2 over 5. So this was done without any question. And then again, I want to find the theta. And I want to find all those between 0 and 360. So question number 1 is, how many angles between 0 and 360 have sine 2 over 5? And which quadrant they are? How many? And in which quadrant? Please answer. I hate to keep telling students. Just unmute and answer. How many have between 0 and 360 have sine 2 over 5? And which quadrant they are? Okay, I'll ask Lucas. Are you with me? Lucas.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, help me out.
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. How many angles between 0 and 360 have for sine 2 over 5? And which quadrant they are? How many in which quadrant? Quadrant 1 for sure. And is it the only quadrant where the angle have sine 2/5? Again, you back to your picture. 2,
So
because
it'll be 1 and 4, right?
no, the sine is what? Is it the x or the y coordinate?
Why? Oh, so it'll be 1 and 2 then, right?
Yeah, you have to remember. Don't the guys throw things. Just remember, it's not really rocket science. That's 2/5. Okay, the sine is the y coordinate. So is this angle and that one. So there are two of them. So there, and both of them, because the sine is positive, they are in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. So there are two angles. They are in quadrant 1 and in quadrant 2. That's the first step of the issue. That's the first step. Okay, now we want to find the theta. Your calculator will give you one of them. It won't give you both. The one it will give you is the one between minus 90 and 90. In this particular case, because the sign is positive, the calculator is going to give you the one between 0 and 90. So when I'm taking the sine inverse of 2/5, it means I am finding the angle whose sine is 2/5. And I don't know, let us say 23.57 because I computed that. So this would give me this one here. This gives me one of them. Okay, Kishan, I want the other one. And how? What's the other one? Kishan, are you with me?
What's the question?
You stay with me, okay? I want the
Yeah.
other angle.
The other angle for
I gave you the red one. I want the blue one.
156.422.
I can't hear you. Please repeat.
156.422.
How?
Huh?
How? Why did
That's
you
what
do
they,
156?
that's what they said in the chat, so I'm gonna just go with that.
I know, but I want you to do it. I know that. I read the chat.
I don't really know how they got it, to be honest.
Exactly, I know. It's the 180. What did they do from it?
Oh, they subtract. Do you subtract 180 from something?
From what?
I'm gonna guess the 23.57.
Why? Do you see why? How much do you have from here to here?
You got 180.
And how much is this piece right there? By symmetry.
If it's symmetric, it would be 23.57.
And it is symmetric because here I have 2/5. It's just like you have this picture. And that's right in the middle. This is the 2/5. Because it's a total symmetry. Those angles are equal. Those angles are equal. That's what we are using, which is going to give me the 156 point whatever 42. Okay. All right. That's it for the quiz. Now, for some students, they didn't know they had to find all the angles. So they gave me one of them. And I took 1.5 points for those students. Now, they said that they didn't know I need all the angles. To compensate to that, on your next quiz on Wednesday, you're going to have one extra credit problem. And the extra credit, it will be along those lines, along ABC, something along those lines. And it will be extra credit. For the student who get it correct, fully correct, I will add 1.5 points to the one I didn't do last time. Okay, so it will be an extra credit. Every student who get it correctly will get 1.5 points extra because some of you didn't know that I wanted all the angles. So they gave me only one, and I took point off to compensate. I will give you an extra credit on the top of your regular quiz. If you got it right, you get 1.5 points as compensation because you didn't know I need everything. All right. Okay, so this takes care of the quiz. Now I go back to the law of sine and cosine, and then I will answer all your questions. So I have 2 questions on Brightspace on chat. If anybody has any other question, please put them on. So let us repeat, or basically let us kind of recap all the pictures we have. The idea in this section is that we have triangles. We have some information about the triangle, like the size and angle, and we have to find all the other information. So we had 2 scenarios. We have the scenario of a right triangle. In a right triangle, it means I have a 90-degree angle. Then we have the Pythagorean theorem. So if I know 2 sides, I can find the third using Pythagorean. And if I know an angle, and like sides, I either use the sine or the cosine or the tangent function. So if I have A and C, I have opposite, I have adjacent, I want the angle, I use tangent. And if I have the opposite, I have the hypotenuse, I use the sine, and so on and so forth. That's for the right triangle. Now, in a non-right triangle, this doesn't work. It means Pythagorean does not hold there. There is no right triangle there. I don't have this definition of sine and cosine. So in a non-right triangle, if I have a triangle, I have some information about some sides and some angle. How can I find the rest? So we have two laws. The law of cosine, which tells me that what we worked with last time. So a squared is b squared plus c squared minus 2bc, the angle in between. And we repeated this for a squared, b squared, and c squared. And when we use the law of cosine, we use it if I know two sides and I know the angle in between. Then I can use it to be able to find the third side. I can use it also when I have three sides. So I have A, B, and C. I have all the three sides. I can use the law of cosine to find the angle. So like in here, if I know A, B, C, I can use it to find the A. So the law of cosine, we use it if I know two sides and the angle in between, or if I know three sides. But sometimes I don't have that. It means I don't have two sides and the angle in between. I can have two angles and the side in between. In this case, the law of cosine doesn't really get me anywhere. So there is another law called the sine, law of sine. It tells me the ratio between the sine of A and the side opposite is equal across. Now, to use the law of sine, we should know at least one angle and the side opposite to it. So if I know one angle and the side opposite to it, then any other information, if I know like B, I can find this B, the angle B. If I know the angle B, I can find the side B. But at least I know, so we need to know at least one angle and the side opposite to it to be able to use the law of sine. Okay. All right, so with this in mind, I still have one remark that I will make it while we are working on the problem. So I will go through your questions. And I have number 1 and 2 and 29. Okay, so I look at 29, number 1. I draw the picture and I want you to tell me which law we can use. So this is like that. This is 100 here. 100 degrees. This is 6, 18, and x. And the question is find x. Now, which law do you think will fit the picture? Okay, can I use the law? I need x. So the question is find x. Okay. All right. Does the law of cosine gets me anywhere in this problem, or I need the law of sine?
We need the law of sine.
Absolutely, because you're right. We need the law of sine because the law of cosine is used when I have at least two sides and the angle in between. I need two sides and the angle in between. I don't have that. Or three sides. So I don't have that. I don't have two sides and the angle in between. So I need to use the law of sine. And it works because I have one angle and I have the side opposite to it. So we're going to use the law of sine. So the law of cosine doesn't work because I don't have two sides and angle between them. So the law of sine tells me, let's set it up. Sine of 18 divided by the side opposite to it, which is 6, is equal to the sine of 100 divided by the side opposite to it. That's how the law of sine works. Now I need to find x. So I have my unknown x, that's my unknown here, one of the pieces. As we said last time, cross multiply. So that's really the easiest way here. What do I mean by cross multiplying? If those are equal, it means if I take x times the sine of 18, remember that's my unknown, x is my unknown, equal 6 sine of 100. Now the only unknown is x. So I need to divide by sine of 18 to get it. So x is going to be 6 sine of 100 divided by the sine of 18. And the rest is pure calculator. How much did you guys get for those who did the homework? Okay, please do that with me. Okay, so we're getting 19.12. You guys are correct. All right. So now let's look at number 2, the one that you guys had on chat. I draw it. I had a 5 here. And I have 3 and x. There is 3 here. And there is an x in here. And there is a 21 degrees. Okay. And the question is, find x. Which law do you think it will work in this problem? And Rebecca, which problem do you think it will? Definitely the law of cosine, because I have an angle, I have 2 sides, and an angle in between. It has to be an angle in between, and then I need the third side. So the law of cosine tells me that x squared equal 5 squared plus 3 squared minus 2 times 3 times 5 times the cosine of the angle. Okay, so this is going to give me equal to, okay, x squared, so I just have to plug it in, so it's 25 plus 9 minus, so it's 25 plus 9 minus 2 times 3 times 5, 2 times 3, that's 6, 6 times 5, that's going to give me 30 cosine of 21. So this would give me 25 plus 9, which is 31. And finally, I get x squared equal. So it's 31 minus 30 times, how much did you guys get? Because you're faster on a calculator than I am. It should be 34. Oh, sorry. Thank you. So I will get 34 minus 30 times the cosine of 21. And how much you guys are getting? You know, participation is part of your grade. And 5.992, or if we round it up to 3. It means my x equal the square root of that. So it's the square root of this, which is equal to 2.448. Okay, and of the problem. All right. Right now, I'm going to look at number 9, and then I pick up your problem. Number 9. Number 9 is the following. They gave, no, sorry, before number 9, I want to make a comment about number 3, just to make sure that we don't confuse. So we have the following in number 3. That's number 3. They are very clear. It's a right triangle. It's 4 and it is 38. And the question is, find the other pieces. So suppose I call this A and this call B. Okay. All right. Back to you. How do you find A? Remember, this is a right triangle. How do we find A? So we're back into this easy scenario of a right triangle. So in right triangle, you don't have law of sine and law of cosine. You don't actually need them. How do you find A? Okay, Matthew share. Are you with me? Okay. Anthony Vasquez, you're with me, right? Matthew, do you need the law of sine? Okay, Matthew, thanks. Do you need the law of sine here? It's a right triangle. That's why I'm addressing this. That's a right triangle. No, we don't need the law of sine. How do we find A? We say, you know, sine of 38. Sorry. I have the opposite and I need the adjacent. So I say, okay, the tangent of 38 is equal to the opposite over the adjacent. So I don't really need law of sine. I don't need anything. I just have to say, okay, the tangent of 38 is opposite over adjacent. Now I use this to find 38. So now this is going to give me, if I need to solve for A, multiply by A, or cross multiply by A, I get A times the tangent of 38 is equal to 4. It means A equal 4 divided by the tangent of 38. So I'm at, because this is my unknown. Okay, so I need to solve for it. Therefore, I multiply by A. And then this is going to give me the following. So I will have 4 divided by tangent of 38. And this will give me 5.11 9. Okay, or 5.12. Okay, so in this particular problem, because it's a right triangle, I don't necessarily have to use the law of sine, actually. I just go back to the definition. I need A. I have the angle, I have the opposite. Find A, I can use the tangent. The tangent is 4 over A. Then I solve for A. Okay, now find B. Remember, it's a right triangle. The rules are different. They are actually easier. Find B. I give you 1 minute to find it, all of you. Now, there are 2 ways of finding B. I don't know which way you guys want to pick. Find B. All right. Anybody else? Okay. How did you guys find it? I'll start. Okay, Danielle, how did you find it? Daniel, how did you find it? Okay. All right. So Travis tells me he used the law of sine. So let us see what one of your classmates did. So they're getting me the right answer, but let's see what they did. So I have my A, I have my 38, I have 4, and B. Okay, so I have 4, I need B. So they say that is a right triangle. And I take the sine of 38. It's 4 opposite over hypotenuse. And then I multiply by B, because that's my unknown. And I get B times the sine equal to 4. And then, yeah, I can use Pythagorean. Yes, I can use Pythagorean. This one is better because I'm not using the previous result. You can definitely use Pythagorean. That's what I said. There are different ways of doing this problem. Okay, so now B is easy. B is easy. I just take 4 and I divide it by the 4 divided by the sine. How much did you guys get of 38? Okay, so I'm getting 6.497 to 3 decimal places. All right. So in a right triangle, you don't use law of sine, you don't use law of cosine. That's why I addressed number 3. You just go back to the basics and you use Pythagorean and the definition of sine and cosine. All right. So now I'll move on to number 9, and then I know that there is 29 on chat. I will do that. So let's look at number 9. Number 9 is the following. Again, I have a triangle. I mean, this is not the right one. And remember the notation: A, B, little b, and C, little c. So in number 9, they give me the side. They gave me A is 20. They gave me B 28. So my picture doesn't work because B is larger than 8. And C is 41. Okay, so my picture, this one is not really representative. So C is the biggest side, that's the 41. So that's my C. And then B is a little bit smaller. We're gonna go somewhere like that, and a little bit. And this is my B, which is 28. And this is my A, which is 20. Okay, so I have to draw them so a little bit reflect the scale that we're working on. And so this will be my A, my B, and my C, all right? So 41 is the biggest, followed by 28, followed by 20. It means in terms of angle, C is gonna be the largest angle because it's opposite the largest side. B is gonna be the second largest, and A is gonna be the smallest angle. All right, how are we gonna find the angles? So here they give me the side, we're gonna find the angles. Okay. Now, how can I find the angle? Which law will be used in this case to find angle? Can law of sine get me anywhere? Back to you. Yeah. Does the law of sine get me anywhere? And the answer is absolutely not. The law of sine requires, the law of sine requires me to know one side and the angle opposite to it. If I don't have this info, there is no way I can use it. So I am forced to use the law of cosine. So we're gonna use the law of cosine. And which sign you wanna use it? So let us agree, which angle do you wanna find? So we have 3 angles. We can pick one of them. You want angle A? Which one do you think is gonna be the largest? I just said it. Which one is gonna be the largest? C. So now we're gonna find basically the smallest. So let us find A. I give you a minute. I want all of you to get me A quickly. First, the setup. 20 square equal 41 square plus 28 square minus 2 times 41 times 28 times the cosine of A. Okay, so you guys do it while I'll do it, and I'm going to ask one of you to tell me what they got. So I expect each one of you to be working with me. Each one of you. So I'm going to hide my work. Anybody got anything so far? Okay, let me pick one of you and we work through that. Anybody likes to volunteer or shall I pick one? All right. I'm ready. Jacob, okay, get going. Jacob,
I'm here.
get going.
I actually started with point C, and so I did the.
But I have to start with A because I told you to start with A.
Okay.
I mean, because I want the whole class to be working with me. Okay, I'll get back to C in a minute. All right?
We can do C. It's 20 squared equals 41 squared plus 28 squared minus 2 times 41 times 28 cosine of C.
Cosine of A, you mean?
Or cosine of A, correct.
Very good. Now, then what will be the second step?
You simplify it to get to cosine of A.
How? Let's do it very slowly.
You multiply 2 by 41 and 28.
Okay, 20 squared is 400.
Right.
Equal. 41 squared, I just
16.
plugged into my calculator, 1681.
Right.
Please, for those who did it, make sure if I'm not goofing. 28 squared, I got 784.
That's correct.
Minus
20. Yeah.
2 times 41 times 28.
Right.
It's how much did we get? I got 2,296. Am I correct? The rest of the class, am I correct? Okay. All right. Very good. Then, what do? Remember, we have to combine those two together first. So those will give me 2,465. Did I do it correctly? Because I can't goof. I want a yes from the class. Okay. This is 2096. And then I need to isolate my cosine, which is my problem. And I will get, I have to bring this to this side. I got minus 2065 equal to that. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Correct? Okay. And then finally, I need the cosine. So I stopped right there. I have to divide. So I will have minus 2065 over minus 2096. I want answers from everyone. So the cosine of A equal. At this stage, I stopped. And how much did you guys get? So it's 2000.
0.899.
0.899.
And then you take the reverse, the arc cosine of 0.899.
And what did we get here? Anybody got an answer?
It's 25.922
25.92.
degrees.
Okay, that's my angle A. Very good. So we got A. Now, if I need all the angles, how can I get B or C? Back to you.
Law of sine.
Law of sine. And now we have to be very careful the whole class. You can use the law of cosine to get B or C, or you can use the law of sine. Since you guys said the law of sine, because now I have an angle which was 25.92, and I have the side opposite to it. So now the law of sine start being usable. Now we can use it. So I'm going to use the law of sine, and we have to be very, very careful in the following sense. Before I start in, if I know I have an angle between 0 and 80, because all my angles have to be between 0 and 80. And I find the sine. Suppose I get the sine of theta equal 0.3 before I even start the problem. How many angles between 0 and 180 have the sine of 0.3? This is the 0.3. There are two angles between 0 and 180. They have the same sine. So if I use the law of sine to find the angles, then I will have two angles. And my issue would be to find the one that will fit the picture. Okay, so the way we're going to do that, so we're going to use the law of sine, but I'm going to find the smallest angle, and then I tell you why, or the acute angle. So I'm going to find the smallest or the acute angle first. So we're going to find the smallest angle or the acute angle first. All right, and then I'll explain why I really wanted that, not because of so. If I want a B and C, which one do you think is going to be acute or less than 90, 100% sure? Will it be B or C? Which one will be less than 90, 100%? B is the smallest of both. So I'm sure that B is going to be an acute angle. It's better to start with the acute angle because otherwise we're going to have some argument to do. So we're going to find B. All right, now let us set up this. I will have sine of B over 28 equal the sine of A over 20. Okay. I was able to use the law of sine because I know one piece. So sine of B over 28 equal the sine of, now I know what A is. A is 25.92 over 20. Okay, now I need to solve for the sine. So this is my unknown. This is the unknown. So I'm going to multiply by 28. So I get rid of the denominator. So I will have the sine of B equal 28 times divided by 20. And then I will get sine B equal. Okay, let's see how much do I get. So I will get 28. How much did you guys get? Times the sine of 25.92 divided by 20. So it's going to be equal to 0.6119.612. Okay, so what's the B now? What's the B? How much we get for B? So that's the sine. So the B is going to be, okay. Okay, now I make my comment. Now I make my comment. My comment is the following, and I want you to listen carefully. If the sine is 0.612, since I am in a triangle, it means all my angles between 0 and 180. If the sine is 0.6, I know that there are two angles that have the same sine, two of them, not only one. I have this one is 37.73. The sine is 0.6, and I have this big one, which is what we did a minute ago. It's 180 minus 37.73. So theta, B could be this, or B could be 180 minus that. Because if the sine is 0.612, I'll have two angles. So it means that this would be whatever, 180 minus that, which is 142. Now, how can I say that this is not acceptable? Why this does not fit the picture? So if the sine is 0.612, there are two angles between 0 and 180 that satisfy the same condition. This one and that one. Why I can disregard this? because, finish my sentence. Finish my sentence. Why? I don't have to take that into account. There are two angles that have the same sign. They are both between 0 and 180. So I am in a triangle. Why I picked this one? Why I did not pick this one? I suppose because the large, due to it being the largest, because it's greater, not because it's greater than 90, it's the other way around. Because B is an acute angle. B is less than 90. Why B is less than 90? Because if you guys remember the picture, we cannot have the sum of the angle is 180. We can have one of them bigger than 90, and not all three of them. And the ones that have to be bigger than 90 is C, maybe. So B has to be less than 90. B has to be an acute angle because C is the largest one. So if there is any obtuse, it has to be C. B can't be more than 90 because C is the largest angle. Okay, so the pick 37 mainly because B has to be an acute angle. B cannot be obtuse because B is not opposite the largest side. C may be obtuse, but not the angle B. So whenever you have this sign, there is a problem. There are two angles that satisfy this condition, and you have to ask yourself, which one fit the problem. And in this case, it's this one because B has to be less than 90. So I have to disregard that part. Finally, we need the angle C. How can I find C? So whenever you use the law of sine, you can work with the smallest angle because you don't have to do that usually. Now, how can I find the C quickly? I have A, I have B. I can find C. So A is 25.92, B 37.73. And then I just can find my C. So it's 180 minus the sum of those, which is going to give me how much? 25.92 plus 37.73 minus 180. I'm getting 100.73. So that's 79.27. It means it's 100. Why 116? I'm not getting 100. Everybody's getting 116. Okay, I believe you guys. 116.35. So C was the obtuse angle in the picture. Okay, C was the obtuse angle. So if I had start using the law of sine to find the angle C, it would have been a bit problematic because I wouldn't know which one to pick, the acute or the obtuse. So I always start with the smallest angle when I work with the law of sine. I start with the smallest angle, the one I know it is acute, so I don't have to really worry about both scenarios. Okay. All right, so I will finalize. I have totally planned to finalize this section today. I'm going to look at number 29. And then I would like to look at number 34 and we finalize this. So number 29, that was one of your questions, if my memory is correct. Yeah, usually my memory is. So number 29. So I will set it up and then you guys will do it. So here it is. Instead of calling the angle ABC, they call the angle alpha beta. So you have to use that. So one side is 2 units. Alpha is the angle opposite to A. Is equal to 25.80. And beta is the angle opposite to B, is 10.50. So this is my situation. First, let us sketch the triangle the best possible way. So we have two angles. So we have the angle alpha is 25, beta is 10.5. So the last angle, let me call it C. So that's the picture here. And then I would draw it correctly. So if this is 2, whatever, this is 2, that's what they are calling alpha, the one opposite to it. Beta is, I don't know, I will draw it in a second in a correct way. So they're giving me this and that. And that's what they're giving me. They're giving me this angle, they're giving me this angle, they're giving me this side. Okay, and I have to work with it. Now, do I know that angle? Do I know this angle? Back to you. They gave me alpha and they gave me beta. Do I know this angle? Or I have to think about it? Or is it hard? How much is this angle here? Okay. So this is 25.80. This one here is 10.50. So this one is actually 180 minus those. So basically they are giving me the 3 angles. So even though they said alpha beta, but they're actually giving me the 3 angles. So now this angle here is going to be, so let me call it C. So I will stick to the same notation we had before, or actually, usually they call it gamma. So this stands for gamma. Okay, alpha, beta, gamma. So this is gamma, and this is going to be equal to 180 minus 25.80 plus 10.50. So gamma is 143.7. Now I'm going to draw with all this in mind. So now I have, this is 143, this is 10, this is 2. I know my graph. So let me picture it. So now I have 143. If this is 90, 143 should be bigger. So that's 143.7. I have my A to be 2. That's 2. And then I have my angle beta to be 10.5. So it's really small here. And then it's 28. So this is really small, very small actually. And this is my angle A. I don't know. So this is 10 degrees right here, and this is 28. And the question we need, this is A, they gave up. I need the C, and I need the B. So in other words, they gave me the angles, they gave me a side. I want the other one. Which law shall I use quickly? So this is a problem. When they give me 2 angles, it means they give me all 3 of them. Because once you have 2, you have everything. And they gave me a side. So now they got me to find the rest. So law of sine is the easy one to use. Actually, I cannot use the law of cosine because I have 2 missing sides. So the law of sine, so let us set it up. So this is what they call beta, and this is what they call alpha. So I'm going to use sine beta over B equal. I only have the side opposite to alpha. So I have to use the sine alpha over 2. Because I only have, this is the only thing I know. That's the side I know. That's the angle I know. And the side opposite that I know. So that's really going to be my anchor. That's the one I know everything about. And then here, I know one piece. I have to find the other. So let us write this down by plugging in number. So I have sine of beta, which is 10.50 over B, that's my unknown, equal the sine of alpha, sine of 25.8 divided by 2. So the only thing I know everything about is the angle alpha and the side opposite. That's what I know. And now I cross multiply because I have ratio from both sides. Then I cross multiply. And I get 2 multiplied by the sine of 1050 equal b, which is my unknown, times the sine of 25.8. And now the question is to solve for b. To solve for b, I divide both sides by sine of 25. So when I divide by the sine of 25.8, and then this would give me b equal 2 times the sine of 10 degrees 5 divided by the sine of 25.8. And then the rest is b equal, I don't know how much we're gonna get, so it's 2 sine 10.5 divided by sine 25. How much you guys are getting? 0.8837. Very small. Now we expected b to be small for the following reason. The angle here, beta, is 10 degrees. Very, very small. And so it has to be, the side opposite to it has to be less than 2 because alpha is 25. So this has to be less than 2. That's why it's going to be very small. All right, now let us find C. Okay, I want you to find C. I'll draw the picture again, and I want you to find C, all of you, and I'm going to pick one of you. So this is my picture here. Okay, the numbers are so small, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. So this is right here. That's the 10 degrees. This is the 25.8. That's the 143. This is the 2. This is the one I know. And then I want to find C. So we call this gamma, alpha, and beta. Okay. All right, I want you to find C. Okay, I give you 2 minutes to set it up. Then I'm going to pick one student to tell me how they did the setup. You go after the pieces you know. You go after the angle and the side opposite that you know. All right, Phoenix, are you with me? Phoenix? Okay, I move on if your student is not with me. Okay, Caleb Johnson, are you with me? All right. Okay, if you're not with me, it means you're not attending the class. That's the way I look at it. All right. Asia, are you with me?
Yes.
Show me the setup.
I did sine of 143.7 over the sine of 25.80 and multiplied it by 2, and I got 2.7.
Wait, you lost. What's the first setup?
Oh,
the first one, the one that's coming verbatim from the law of sine.
143.7 over C.
Over C.
And then the sine of the sine of 25.80 over 2.00.
Over 2. You don't have 2.00. That's the main setup. That's the one we know all about. That's going to be my anchor in this problem. And then I pick up what the rest pieces. So this is my C. And then proceed. Asia, what did you do after that?
I cross multiplied.
Cross
So
multiply. Then what you got?
I got 2 times the sine of 143.7 over the sine of 25.80.
This is equal to the C. Absolutely correct. And how much did you get for the C?
2.720 meters.
Okay. Did you expect the C to be larger than B? Did you expect C to be the largest value?
Yes,
Because
C is the largest.
it's the opposite to the largest angle. So it has to have the largest value, and the value is 2.72. Okay. All right. I will assign more problems along the same line for next time, and I'm going to introduce a totally new idea next time. But I want to look at number 34 that I've assigned, that you guys haven't looked at it. We're going to talk a little bit about it, and I expect you to do it for next time. I expect all of you to do it. So, no, actually not 34. It's 35. 34, you do it. 34 is fairly easy. 35. I'm going to read the problem with you. I expect you to do it for next time. So let me pick it up, because you should be able to do a little bit. All right. To measure the height of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, a person stands away from the base and measures the angles of elevation to the top of the tower to be 60. So I will explain the picture while we do that. So what's happening is, there's the Eiffel Tower. I hope one day you guys go and see the Eiffel Tower. So that's the Eiffel Tower. And the person want to measure it. So the person sits a little bit farther away and he measured it 60 degrees. So to measure, a person stand away from the base. They don't tell me how far away from the base, and measure the angle of elevation to the top of the tower to be 60. So he measured this angle to be 60. And that's the Eiffel Tower. And then moving 210 feet closer. So the person is here, then he moved 210 feet closer. And the angle of elevation is 70. So right now, the angle is 70. The question is, how tall is the Eiffel Tower? So if we're gonna call h the height, the question is, find h. Okay. So that's the picture, in case we know it. So we want to measure from here to here. The one who's doing the measurement stands a little bit away. He realized the angle is 60, moved 210 feet. The angle dropped down, sorry, of course, the angle increased to 70 degrees. And the question is, how high is that? Okay, I give you just 1 minute. That's how much we have to find an idea. How would you solve this problem? And we'll take it on next time. So think about it for a minute. How do you think we can solve that? I have 210, 70, 60. I need height. Any idea? Okay. I want you to do it for next time. I want all of you to do it. The only hint I can tell you, one hint I can give it to you, is that find this one. Call this C if you want. First find C. and then proceed. Okay, so that's my hint. Find C and then proceed. It's going to be a two-step problem. You should be able to do it. So find C and then proceed. See how you can find the height. Right? So for Wednesday, you're going to have your quiz, as you guys know, and your quiz will cover everything: right triangle, non-right triangle. And then I will give you a problem, as I told you, an extra credit based on the question on the previous quiz. And please do the homework. I will assign some more problems along those lines for next time. Please do that. Okay? The class is dismissed. Any student who have any questions can stay.